I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on solutions to GCSE test papers. Here is foundation level, paper 2, where calculator is allowed. So we are going to use this calculator in some of the questions. You need to answer all these questions in black ink or ballpoint pen. However, I will use some colored pens just to illustrate and explain the solutions, right? So let's begin with the solutions. In case you have any doubts, you can always send an email on the address given here. Let's begin with the very first question, which is we need to answer all the questions. Write your answers in the space provided. You must write down all the stages in your working. That is kind of important, right? So write 7 over 100 as a decimal. So when you divide by 100, what happens to decimal point? It's important to understand that it moves 2 positions, right? So it'll be 0.07. You could also do this with calculator, right? But understand the division by, it is 7 at present, it is like this, correct? And 7 could be written as 007 also. When you divide, decimal moves 2 units, like 1 and 2. So you get 0.07. Correct? So our answer here is 0.07. Question 2. Write down a multiple of 6 that is between 40 and 50. 6 times 7 is 42, right? So that is a multiple which is between 40 and 50. Some of you could also write 6 times 8, which is 48, right? So that is an alternate answer. Question 3 is simplify 3f times 5g. So when you multiply, the numbers get multiplied. So 3 times 5, we get 15, and f and g will come as such, right? So we get 15 fg as our answer. Simplify t times t. T times t will be t square. So we'll write t square here. And then we have to simplify 6n plus 2n divided by 2. So 2 plus 6 is 8. We can write this as 8n divided by 2, which is equal to 4. Now 8, when you divide by 2, you get 4, and n is left here, right? So basically, it goes kind of like this, right? So 8, and then, so you get 4n. So the answer here will be 4n. Clear? So that is how we are going to answer these questions. Let's continue. Question number 4. Ken buys some fruits. He buys apples, bananas, peaches, and oranges. Ken buys 4 apples weighing 125 grams each, 2 bananas weighing that much. So we are given the weight and the quantity. Each orange weighs 90 grams. The fruit has total weight of 1.785 kilograms. Work out how many oranges Ken buy. Okay, so let's find the weight of each category of fruit, right? So let's find, extend this table, and we'll write weight of each fruit. So we need to use calculator here. So we'll do 4 times 125. To write down this solution, we'll do 2 times 170. And then we'll do 3 times 135. And then we are going to add them. And this will be apples, bananas, and peaches. So apples plus bananas plus peaches is so much, right? So let's write down. So we have 4 times 125, which is 500, 2 times 170, which is 340, 3 times 135, which is 405. Now we can add them, and we get our total as 8 plus 3, 12, 1245. You could use calculator, right? So 500 plus 340 plus 405 gives you 1245. Now this 1245 is in grams, and that's the weight of apple, banana, and peaches. Now we are also given that the fruit has total weight. So we're given total weight of so many kgs, that is 1785 grams. Now from here we can find how much oranges in weight were there, right? So we can say weight of oranges will be from the total, which is 1785, will take up 1245, correct? So the number which we get here, that number gives you the mass of oranges or the weight of oranges. Now we know that each orange weight is 90 grams, right? So we need to work out how many oranges. So number of oranges will be total weight of 540 divided by 90, right? Both are in grams. So we can divide this and we'll get 6, right? 540 divided by 90 gives us 6. So we get 6 oranges. Is that clear to you, right? So that goes into the solution. We get 6 as the number of oranges. Now, Jane wants to buy 15 tomatoes. She asks for 1 kg of tomato at a shop. Jane assumes that each tomato has a weight of 75 grams. Now the question based on that assumption is, if Jane's assumption is correct, will she get 15 tomatoes? You must show how to get your answer. Well, let us figure out what is the assumed weight, right? So let's find assumed weight of 15 tomatoes. So it'll be 15 times each. She is assuming that each tomato will weigh 75. So we can multiply this by 75 to figure out what is the weight of 15 tomatoes. 15 times 75 gives us 1125, which is slightly more than 1 kg, correct? So that is in grams. We can divide by 1000 to convert to kilograms. So the question is, if Jane's assumption is correct, that is, if that is the weight, right, will she get 15 tomatoes? No. So the answer is no. She will not get 15 tomatoes, right? So since that is weight of 15 is more than 1 kg, right? Since weight of 15 tomatoes is more than 1 kg, correct? So that is how we are going to answer part 1 of this question. And part 2 is, if Jane's assumption is not correct, could she get 15 tomatoes? Now, if the assumption is not correct, then, well, she could, right? Yes, she could get 15 tomatoes if the actual weight. So when we say actual weight is average, right? So actual average weight is less than assumed weight of 75 grams. Is that clear? So in that case, we could get, right? So basically, you can say, how much can it be, right? 1000 divided by 15 is basically, in decimals, 66.6, right? So less than 65, around 66 gram each. Is that correct? So we just calculated the value. So if you divide 1000 by 15, you get 66.6 grams. So that could give you 15 tomatoes. Does it make sense to you? So that is how we could answer this question. Question number 5. Now question number 5 is of 6 marks. Let's try to understand. 60 students were asked how they get to school. A table shows the result. Number of students. What fraction of 60? So the total is 60. Let's write down total. What fraction of 60 students did not walk? So when we say did not walk, means 60 minus 27, because 27 are walking, correct? So did not walk will be 60 minus 27. 10 take away 7 is 3. 5 take away 2 is 3. So 33 did not walk. What fraction they are asking? So the fraction will be 33 out of 60, right? So that is the fraction, which you could also simplify dividing by 3. We get 11 by 20. So that fraction did not walk. Okay. Part B is complete the pie chart for the information in the table. Now, when you want to complete a pie chart, you have to actually find the angles. So the strategy is to find the angle for each, right? Since full circle is 360 degrees, what we should do is that we should see this number represents what degree, right? Fraction represents what degree. So we should find for each how much out of, so we have to answer this, how much out of 360, right? This is out of 60. Do you see that? So in the fractions, this is out of 60. So we have to really figure out how much out of 360. Is that correct? That means each can be multiplied by 6 to get degrees, right? So let's multiply each by 6 and write down. Does it make sense to you? So 15 times 6 will be 90. So this is 90 degrees for us. 27 times 6 is equal to 162 degrees. So these are actually degrees, right? So 12 times 6 will be 72 degrees. And 6 times 6 will be 36 degrees. You understand? So we just converted them to degrees. Right? So total will be 360 degrees. Now it is simpler. So as you can see here directly, for the bus they have shown 90 degrees. Good. So walking is 162 degrees. So let me write down here all these numbers. So with bus we have 90 degrees. With walking 162 degrees. Car 72 degrees, and bicycle is 36 degrees, right? So basically we now need a protractor to accurately plot this, correct? So here is the one which I'm going to use. So we already have for the bus. Now let's say 160 degrees for walking. So let me put it the other way. So we'll go for like this, right? Is it clear to you? Right. So we have this. Now we have to draw 162. So keeping this side as 0, which is right there, 162 will be kind of here, right? So 160 and 162 will be kind of here. So joining this, we get, so this is a very big D, which I have anyway. If I join with the center, then that gives me the portion which represents walking. Right? So this much is actually 162 degrees, and that is walking. Does make sense, right? So that's how we get. Now for 72, we can keep this along the right angle, correct? And go for 72 degrees. So 72 degrees will be, see the 0 is on this side, or 0, we have to take 0 on this side and go like this, 70 and 72 will be here. So we can join these point with the center to get a portion which represents car, and the remaining is bicycle. Does it make sense to you? Correct? And these are the corresponding angles which helped us to get an accurate pie graph. Perfect. So you have to divide the whole circle, which is 360 degrees, into these four parts, proportion to the numbers. Is that clear to you? Now let's move on and take the next question. 6. Annie and Lily share some money in the ratio of 4:3. What fraction of money does Lily get? So when we have 4:3, we have to always find what total is, right? So in this case, total amount will be 7. So when we say what fraction of money does Lily get? So this is A and L, right? So A and Lily. So Lily gets 3 out of 7. So she gets 3 out of total of 7. So we have this as our answer. Rosie and Dan share some sweets, and in this case the ratio is Dan gets 1/4 of sweets, right? So that means we have now Rosie and Dan. Dan gets 1/4. So out of 4, Dan gets 1. So left is 3. So 3 out of 4 will be Rosie. The question now is, write down the ratio of number of sweets Rosie gets to the number of sweets Dan gets. Well, so basically the ratio will be as I did here. We are writing 3 out of 4 is to 1 out of 4, or the ratio is 3:1, right? So that is the ratio. 3:1 for Rosie gets 2 for Rosie is to Dan. Clear? So that is what the ratio is. Now let's look into question number 7, which is Steve says there are more prime numbers between 20 to 30 than there are between 10 to 20. Is Steve right? You must show how you get your answer. Well, let's just write down the prime numbers. So prime numbers are numbers which have only two factors, the number itself and 1, right? So let's write the prime numbers. So let's see prime numbers between 20 and 30. So what are the prime numbers between 20 and 30? And also let's write prime numbers between 10 and 20. Clear? So between 20 and 30, we have 23 is a prime number. And then what? 4, 5, 6, 7. So 27 is 9 times 3, 20 is 7 times 4, and 29. So there are only two prime numbers between 20 to 30. However, between 10 to 20, we have prime numbers as 11, 13, 17, and 19. So we have 4, right? So that shows that we have more prime numbers between 10 and 20 than between 20 and 30, right? Therefore, Steve is not right. Correct? So we could explain it like this. So find the prime numbers. So they have 4 between 10 to 20, only 2 between 20 to 30. Okay. Question number 8. Chrissy drew this graph to show the percentage of buses that go to a bus stop on time for 6 months. So January, February, March, April, May, June, and then that's the graph. So we have percentage of buses on time, and that is months. Part A of this question is, write down one thing that is wrong with the graph. So let's look for it. Well, it seems to be okay. So, but you'll notice that in the numbers written here, 30 is missing, right? So 30 is missing. Now, that is difficult to figure out, but As you can see, 30 is missing. Now, when you have a problem like this, what you could do is, there is no need to show that scale, so we could use something like this, a break and then continue. Is it okay? So that would have been better, but missing a number is wrong. So we can say 30 is missing from the y-axis, which is representing percentage of buses on time. Now, part B of this is describe the trend in percentage of buses that got to the bus stop on time. Well, clearly the trend is, it is increasing, right? So the trend is, it is increasing, right? So that means more and more buses are coming on time as you move from January to June, right? So it is increasing, higher percentage. Clear? So that is how we could answer this question. Now, next question is question number 9, which is, here is a map of an island. Okay. Diagram accurately drawn. Let's see the question. A straight road joins the two villages, Beckley and Cramford. So these are the two villages joined by a straight road. Work out the real distance between the two villages. Well, to find the real distance, we have to look at the scale. And 1 centimeter represents 0.5 kilometers. So that means we have to measure in centimeters distance between the two villages using a scale, right? So that gives us, from here on my scale, it gives me 5.5 centimeters, correct? So that is what it is. Now, so we will use 1 centimeter. So we know 1 centimeter is equal to 0.5 kilometers. So 5.5 centimeter will be equal to 5.5 times 0.5 kilometers, correct? So that is how you're going to find the distance. So 5.5 times 0.5 equals to 11 divided by 4, which is 2.75 kilometers. Correct? So that is the distance. Part B is work out the real distance. The real distance is 2.75 kilometers. And now, next question is, find the bearing of Cramford from Beckley. So bearing angle is, we have to measure clockwise from north to get the bearing angle. So let's do this. So basically we'll see what is the angle. If I place this much bigger scale, right? So that gives me the angle. So 0 on this side, so we're going to the upper scale, we get 130. So we get 130 degrees. So this angle which we're talking about, okay? So the bearing is 130 degrees. Degrees is mentioned, we'll write 130. Clear? So remember, bearing angle is measured clockwise from north direction. Question number 10. The diagram shows two shapes drawn on a centimeter grid. Find the area of shape P. Okay, so we need to find the area of shape P. So it's a triangle, so area will be how much? Area is half base times height. So in this case, base is 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters, and height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters. 6 centimeters. So we'll do this as half of 4 times 6, which is 12 centimeters square. Part B is write down the mathematical name for the quadrilateral cube. Now this is a kite, correct? So the name is kite. Okay. Let's move on and take the next question, which is question number 11. Now this question is 3 marks. I would like you to pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. The table shows a cricket club's income in 2016 from a fete, a quiz, and membership fees. Express as a ratio the income from the fete to the income from the quiz to the income from the membership fees. Give your ratio in its simplest form. So we need to calculate all these incomes. From the fete, we are already given 250. Well, that is given to us. Now from quiz, it says entry fees is 13 at $5 each. So 13 at $5 each means we have to multiply 13 by 5, and refreshments is 35, right? So we have to add this. So here we get 13 times 5 plus 35. Okay? So let's calculate this amount. We get 13 times 5 plus 35, which is equal to 100. The last one is membership fee, 25 at 20 each. That means we should do 25 times 20, which is 500. So these are the three, correct? So we can write incomes from fete to quiz to membership as 250 is to 100 is to 500, right? Now we have to also write it in the simplest form. So in simplest form, we could divide by 25, for example. So if I divide each by 25, let's do that, then what do we get? We get 10 is to 4 is to 20. Well, we can further simplify and we can divide all of them by 2, right? So we could further reduce them. So we can now divide by 2. So we get 5 is to 2 is to 10. Okay. So that becomes the ratio in the simplest form. So you could do it in steps, right? So we have this ratio as 5 is to 2 is to 10. Clear? So let's move on and take the next question, which is going to be the last question of our part 1. So this is midway. We have 24 questions in all. Question number 12 is 200 people live in a village. So total is 200 given to us right there. 23 people do not have a garden. So do not have a garden, 23. 10 males do not have a garden, 95 people are male. Use this information to complete the frequency tree. Okay, so let's again read it. We have 200 people in all, 23 do not have garden. So there are 2 portions. So one tree is do not have, the other one has. Do not have is 23. So the number which has is 200 minus 23. Correct? So will be 7, 9 take away 2 is 7, 177 will come here. Now, 10 males do not have garden. So out of those males do not have garden is the number 10. 95 people are males. That means these two should be 95. So this has to be 85. Clear? So we got this by doing, 95 minus 10, right? That gives us 85. Now, we have to fill in the other thing. So 23, 10 are male, the rest will be female, so it is 13. In this case, from 177, 85 are male, so we'll do 177 minus 85 to get the number 92. So that's how we can complete this. Now, the question is, one of the people who does not have a garden, so do not have a garden, so we are selecting one of the people who does not have a garden is chosen at random. Write down the probability that this person is female, right? Or do not have garden is the top part. So do not have garden is chosen. That means we are choosing from here. Write down the probability that this person is a female. So female is 13 out of 23, right? So that is how we are going to find. So this is a conditional probability. So we are saying, write down the probability that this person is female. But says, one of the people who does not have garden is chosen. So this we are only selecting from this 23. Do you understand? So we are restricted to this group of 23 people who do not have garden. So out of these, what is the probability of female? That is the question to understand, right? So 13 out of 23. So our answer is 13 out of 23. So that is what we are going to write. Is that clear to you? Right. So at this stage, probability questions could be easily done using this concept. I hope you understood all the solutions. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. And if you have questions, you can always send it to my email mentioned right there. Thanks for watching and all the best.